On the outskirts of a big city stood an old Victorian house. This was the home of Alex, a bright-eyed boy with a wild imagination, celebrating his 9th birthday. The house, with its creaking floors and echoing hallways, had always been a source of eerie fascination for Alex. But tonight it was about to transform from a place of innocent wonder to one of unspeakable mystery. As the clock struck midnight after a cheerful birthday celebration, the house fell into a deep silence. Alex, tucked in his bed, was struggling to sleep, his mind buzzing with the excitement of his birthday gifts. Without warning, the room chilled and a shadowy figure materialized at the foot of his bed. It was a ghost, dark and featureless, yet emanating a strange, almost calming presence. Paralyzed with fear, Alex's eyes widened as he stared at the apparition. The ghost, silent and still, seemed to be observing him, its presence heavy in the room. Alex wanted to scream and run to his parents' room, but fear rooted him to the spot. The ghost remained for what felt like an eternity. Then, as subtly as it had appeared, it dissolved into the darkness. As dawn broke, Alex, pale and shaken, rushed to his parents. He recounted the night's terror with wide, pleading eyes. However, his parents, who were sensible and grounded, dismissed his story as the result of his vivid imagination, or perhaps a dream influenced by the ghost stories he loved so much. Days turned into weeks, and the memory of the ghostly visitor began to fade into the background of Alex's everyday life. But a seed of unease had been planted in his mind. As the years passed, the ghostly visitor would return each year on Alex's birthday, a silent sentinel in the night. Each visit left Alex with more questions than answers, the mystery of the ghost intertwining with his own growing sense of identity. "Why my birthday?" asked Alex. Little did he know, these visits were just the beginning of a journey that would unravel the very fabric of his reality. Alex's 12th birthday. The day had been joyous, filled with laughter and games, but as night approached, a familiar unease settled over Alex. He excused himself early from the celebrations, retreating to his room. Sure enough, as the clock struck 12, the room grew colder and the ghost appeared. This time Alex wasn't afraid. This was his 4th encounter with the ghost. He observed the ghost with a curious eye, trying to communicate, but the ghost remained silent, its presence a silent watch over the boy. As Alex is growing up, his encounters with the ghost become a secret part of his life, something he never shared with anyone, not even his closest friends. Alex's parents, still oblivious to the truth, attributed his quiet demeanor to the typical growing pains of adolescence. As Alex turned 15, his attempts to communicate with the ghost grew more desperate. He tried everything from speaking to it, writing notes, and even attempting to touch it, but to no avail. The ghost, ever present but unresponsive, continued its silent vigil. Alex felt a strange connection to the ghost. He felt it was trying to communicate something important to him. He spent hours in his room, pondering over old family albums, looking for any clue that might explain the ghost's identity or purpose. But each year, as the ghost vanished with the coming of dawn, Alex was left with more questions than answers. On the eve of Alex's 18th birthday, now a young man consumed by a need for answers. His room, dimly lit by a single lamp, casting long shadows that danced across the walls. As the clock ticked closer to midnight, Alex's heart raced with anticipation. He had spent the last year researching everything he could about spirits, hauntings, and the supernatural, hoping to find a way to communicate with the ghost. The clock struck 12 and the familiar chill swept through the room. The ghost materialized at the foot of his bed, its dark form more defined than ever. This time Alex was ready. He spoke not with fear, but with a confident, trembling voice.
"Who are you? Why are you here?"
To his astonishment, the ghost responded. Its voice was a whisper, ethereal and distant, yet it filled the room with a resonance that vibrated in Alex's very soul.
"I have watched you grow," the ghost said, "seen you change from a boy to a man. You seek answers, and it is time for you to know the truth."
The revelation shook Alex to his core. Questions flooded his mind, but before he could speak, the ghost continued.
The answers you seek lie not in the world of the living, but in the secrets of the past. I am your father. Look to your origins, Alex. Your life as you know it is a lie. I was the favored son, the heir to our father's legacy. Your uncle, consumed by envy and addiction, murdered me, taking my place, my family, my life, and you.
The ghost's words were shocking, leaving Alex more perplexed than ever. It vanished as abruptly as it had appeared, leaving a lingering echo of its message. Alex sat in stunned silence, trying to comprehend the meaning behind the ghost's words. The following days saw Alex delve into his family history. He scoured old photo albums and found out that his father had a twin brother that no one ever mentioned. Each piece of information seemed to deepen the mystery, leading him on a path that was unsettling. His mother, confronted with his questions about his uncle, remained tight-lipped, adding to the growing storm of confusion and betrayal inside him. Alex has been avoiding his father, now not sure the ghost created doubt that his mother couldn't erase. Alex, now 20, sitting in his room, surrounded by the pieces of a puzzle that had consumed his life for the past 2 years. His office was full with newspaper clippings, old photographs, and scribbled notes. Each piece told a part of a story, a fragment of a truth that Alex was desperately trying to piece together. On the eve of his 20th birthday, the weight of unanswered questions hung heavily in the air. As midnight approached, Alex's heart pounded with a mixture of dread and anticipation as he hoped to finally understand why. As the clock struck 12, the familiar chill filled the room, and the ghost appeared, its form clearer, more human-like than it had ever been before. Alex, his voice steady but filled with emotion, asked the question that had haunted him for years.
Are you truly my father?
The ghost's response was a revelation that shattered Alex's world.
I am your father, it whispered, a sorrowful tone in its voice. Alex's mind reeled as the ghost explained the tragic tale of the twin brothers. My brother was a drug addict while I was the star of the family. I helped our father with his successful business. My brother realized he is going to lose everything. He went to treat his addiction and then killed me and took over my life, business, inheritance, and my family. I am your real father, Alex. Now it's time for justice. Your uncle stole everything from me. You must avenge me to free my soul, the ghost implored, its form flickering with a spectral intensity.
Alex responded.
You want me to kill your brother? I can't. I am not a killer.
Torn between the love for the man he believed to be his father and the ghost's plea for vengeance.
You must.
The ghost insisted, its voice growing colder.
He's diabetic, an overdose of insulin, undetectable, untraceable. It's the only way to right the wrongs and free us both.
In the days that followed, Alex grappled with the ghost's demand. The man he called father, the life he had lived, all now stood under the shadow of a sinister past. His mother's evasive answers only fueled his turmoil, leaving him at a crossroads between familial loyalty and a ghost's quest for retribution. Alex stands at a window gazing into the starless night. The weight of the ghost's revelation and its dark request presses down on him, a burden that threatens to fracture his very soul. The path forward is shrouded in moral ambiguity, each step leading him further into the depths of a past drenched in deceit and blood. Alex, overwhelmed in the confusion of his true heritage. The man he had known as his father, now revealed as his uncle, became a figure of deception and betrayal. The walls of his childhood home, once comforting, now felt like barriers enclosing him in a web of lies. The ghost of his real father, a constant shadow in his thoughts, pushed Alex towards a path of murder that he could not follow. Alex's heart rebelled against the thought of harming the only father he had ever known. On the eve of his 21st birthday, the weight of his family and the ghost's vendetta bore down on him. Midnight approached, bringing with it the chilling presence of the ghost, more tangible and insistent than ever.
Jason,
Alex confronted the ghost.
you are not my father. You are the uncle, the one who died from drug overdose, the one rejected by the family, twisted by vengeance. You were the one with diabetes, not my real father.
The ghost, now a storm of rage and despair, transformed into a terrifying specter.
Your father stole everything from me. Parents love, dad's business, he must pay. You all must pay.
It wailed, the room trembling with its fury. As ghostly wails filled the room, Alex's parents burst in, confronted by the chaos. His real father sees the ghost of his brother for the first time, a confrontation that has been years in the making. The room, charged with the emotional intensity of the moment, becomes a battleground for the final showdown between the two brothers. Alex's father, filled with a mix of sorrow and anger, confronts the ghost.
Jason, my brother,
He cried out,
I tried to save you, to reach out, but you pushed me away.
Lies. You were the golden child, the beloved son, while I faded in your shadow.
The ghost screeched, its voice a piercing echo of despair and resentment.
I loved you, Jason.
Alex's father persisted, his voice breaking with sorrow.
If only I could turn back time.
In that moment of raw emotional turmoil, the ghost's form began to falter. Its existence, fueled by hatred and unfulfilled vengeance, could no longer sustain itself against the revelations of truth. Alex, empowered by the love for his family, stepped forward.
You have no power here.
He declared firmly.
We are not your pawns. Leave us and find peace.
Unable to withstand the combined strength of truth and familial bonds, the ghost's form becomes unstable. It starts to disintegrate and finally vanishes. The confrontation between the brothers and Alex's unwavering stand fills the room with a sense of peace and closure. Alex steps into a new day, free from the haunting presence of his uncle's ghost, ready to move forward with his life, guided by the strength of his family and the clarity of truth.